Welcome back, guys, to the SSL Grand Final between Dark and Stats. Having lots of interviews with the players and their mentors.
Flash is just so damn good at interviews. His interview there, just to sum it up at the end, he said, "We're all cheering for you, so let's win." And I guarantee you, Stats has seen this interview. He knows everyone on KT is behind him, but it's his opponent, Dark, who's on match point.
Somehow he's got to win 3 in a row. Even with all of KT behind him, I'm not sure it'll be possible here, Wolf, because Dark, he's got everyone from SKT behind him, and he's already up 2 games and on match point, and we're going to Central Protocol. This is a map we do not see, Wolf. We've seen it, what, once in Star League?
Yeah, we saw it once, and it was because Stats forced Game 7 versus Solar. It was, I think, Game 6. Arena was Game 7, so Stats won a map on here to defeat Solar, and actually that's how we got to the finals. He can deal with this map. It was a map that's very highly vetoed, a map these players haven't practiced as much as the other maps.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough road here for Stats, but if he can win this one, he definitely can move on to the maps that are left. So there is some hope left. If he can win this one, though, he's got to win this, 2 more, and then possibly we'll take that finals. But Dark looking primed, looking ready, in the best shape of his life on that stage. So let's go into game number 5 right now. Welcome to Central Protocol. You may not recognize it too well, but we are having it here in the finals. And up here in the top right, in the red, the Zerg player, he is Dark. So many cheers from the fans, so many people coming down to cheer for him. There's Myungshik.
His opponent, though, to the bottom left, in blue, needs to win 3 in a row. It's Stats. Huge cheer for him as well. KT, as you mentioned earlier in this finals, is the biggest group of fans for Starcraft. They have the most vocal fangirls, the biggest fan club, and they are very much cheering for him here. They want him to come back. It will take a miracle, but hey, miracles have happened in grand finals before. Now,
yeah, this won't be the first time.
You mentioned the map. It's crazy to think that in a grand finals, on match point, Stats, who waited 8 years for this moment, could be defeated on a map that we saw used in this tournament 1 single time. And that's why, looking at the map list earlier, it's so important to get ahead, because you don't want to be in an unfavorable matchup when your opponent's on match point, a map that you are the only player in this tournament who's ever played 1 game on it, okay? 1 game, the whole tournament, it's been vetoed by everybody else. And it makes it here into the grand finals as we go into game number 5.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. You have to imagine that players coming into this one, especially Protoss players, are like, nope, I'll just ban that one out. That or Prion Terraces. This is what we saw a lot in terms of the bans from the Protoss players in this group, or rather in this tournament. And, you know, Stats, you definitely have to do some extra practice on this map. It's another very, very big map. Long rush distance, especially spawning here at cross spawns.
Stargate. We're now 5 for 5, Stats opening Stargate. Has 2 gateways of Adepts this time, though, for a little bit of extra pressure. Unfortunately for him, he is cross-spawned, so won't be able to use them very easily, but still, with a double Adepts, he's going to be able to save this Probe's life at the start of things, maybe force some extra lings. Dark already going into Overlord speed again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so sure if he'll go into Baneling drops. He's done it 3 out of the 4 times that he wasn't, you know, all-inning on Arena, of course. He definitely can mix it into his play, but on a map this big, you want to make sure you get that scout regardless against Protoss. Could see a crazy build come out, especially on a map like this where Stats may not be too comfortable. So I love that he commits to it again, and again, it's no surprise.
And 1 lane gets into the main base here, very annoying to deal with. This is one of the things that can really mess you up in your early game, having to deal with that lane. You can't hide anything. drones finally being made here for Dark. He was making a lot of lings because of that pressure. And this base, he will actually be able to kill these drones this one. In fact, smart cancel by Dark. Those would have instantly died. Very
love
intelligent.
that. I really, really love that. You see that so not often. That, you know, it's awesome when you do see it. The Adepts do get surrounded here, and the Shade is too late. It will go down. So Dark does deal with the 2 Adepts very cleanly.
Basileir coming up here. No Evolution Chamber, no Baneling Nest, so already a variation here from what Dark is showing us. Although, as I say it, there's one half. Where's the Baneling Nest? There it is.
Once again. And I mean, he's been pretty consistent with it. This is the style he wants to use on this map. So we will be seeing it again. Now, there are a decent number, especially with that outside third base. There's a lot of angles that Dark can come from with the Baneling drops. He could even like try to roll into Banelings if Stats doesn't set up a good Sim City at that third.
Yeah, it's a very exposed third base. There's 2 different angles you can attack from, the north or the south. It's very far away from your natural. And Dark is already securing his third base. With Overlord speed, a little bit easier for him to defend against this Phoenix Harassment. He does not have that support ready yet. It's almost done, and once it finishes here, once it pops, the Phoenixes will have to go away. Now linking up together now, struggling to find damage here.
Yeah, maybe a drone or 2. Just pick off 1. And already, here we go once again. Drop Overlord being morphed, 4 Banelings in position. He's going right for that third. It'll be interesting. Maybe he'll wait and not go for the third. It's kind of early. He could also go for the natural. I think you can slip on by on the very left side of the map.
Looks
and
like
just get into the natural.
He just wants to wait until the Phoenixes are visible before he even comes in at all. Phoenixes are seen here, then he turns the Overlord around. Just keep an eye on that on the minimap. And for the first time in the series, we see a Hydralisk Den. Hydralisk range is on the way, so different unit composition altogether. Now, this Overlord looks like a scout. If he doesn't drop anything, Stats is looking on the other side of the map. There's no probes, as you mentioned, to kill here. Maybe he's just going to wait until they group up like this.
It's
He wants a bigger target.
Yeah, I thought he would go straight for the natural because there's just not much at the third. But I suppose you can't see everything like we do. And now there are a bunch of probes, but there is a lot of defense.
Needs to drop these. 1 goes out, 2 goes out. Gets a hit on the Adepts. They split the cannon, and the split of those 3 Adepts in 3 different directions will clean this up. Despite the Hydralisk range, we see +1 attack for Lings, of course for Banelings. So really interested to see what kind of comp we make. Most Zerg players are going Lurkers in this matchup. Dark is the only one who made his own way. He's taking his second road of the 2 roads here down the Baneling path.
This is really interesting. It looks like he wants to mix it up on game 5. What a weird spot to mix it up. I mean, map is going to be interesting. There's still a lot of space, so the Ling composition is still nice with all that mobility. But if you can get the Hydras in position and even get into Lurkers, that third base is very hard to hold for the Protoss.
We saw him, in Pro League matches. I got to go back to this. Use Hydra Bane. Solar did something similar, where you Hydralisk and Baneling. The Banelings cause force fields to go down, and then with the force fields out, it's hard to fight the Hydras because they have better range, and they just pick everything else off. The Zealots go down to the Banelings, the Hydralisks finish everything else off, and it's a very tough composition to fight.
Especially when there are so many Protosses mixing, at times, even double Immortal production into their composition, and that's exactly what we see out of Stats. So once the Banelings get in, even if they do or do not get in, the Hydras are going to be shelling from behind those force fields, as you did mention. Now, fourth base coming down here. These Phoenix is getting a little bit too overzealous. Fourth base coming down for Dark. This is a little bit slower than the last game, but it's because he wanted to get this big composition of Lings and Hydras and probably get ready to shell that third base with a bunch of Banelings too.
Yeah, he's setting up for it right now. Baneling speed's almost done. He's also going to have +1 for his Banelings. A huge group of Lings just morphed right now. He's going to have about 55 or so coming across the map. Centrifugal hooks very close to being finished. The Baneling morph has started here. And he can use, of course, the Overlords. If he brings any over here, the Droverlords can drop Banelings on top of this army. He doesn't have any nearby right now.
4 sentries being warped in right now. He needs to ward off this defense, and here come the Banelings into the third base. Doesn't even notice.
Doesn't look like it. There's no split. It's too late. That's Baneling speed on these. And the force field is light as well. Only gets 5. But look, this gives him a good position with his Hydras.
Really nice position. The Protoss is forced into this corner, and here come the Banelings again. Where are the force fields? Really nice force fields this time. He keeps all of the Banelings away, but again, the Hydras in a perfect concave out here, and even some Banelings getting through.
Oh, good force fields, but the Zealots are all going to go down to the Banelings regardless, and now it's pure Hydra versus Immortals. Most of the barriers are on cooldown, but Stats will survive for now.
Just barely survives with basically only his immortals. Gets that one more or less a nice pick off there. But again, he kills more probes rather, but Stats does hold on, and that was a big commitment by Dark.
Yeah, finally, force fields come down. And that's the key here. He's got an Archon drop morphing here. Looks like he didn't have Storm earlier, wanted to do a Psystorm drop. He's gonna do an Archon drop instead. 2 Archons gonna go over here and could do some serious damage to the mineral line, especially versus just pure Lings on the ground. Not a single Hydra left anymore.
Especially when there's so much craziness going on in the game, right? There's Lings running around. That huge attack just happened. Phoenix is trying to get the position, snipe Overlords. Dark is trying to defend, but all the while, is he gonna expect that drop coming in? Looks like Stats is gonna wait on that for now. He's taking the 4th base too. He wants to just defend here.
All right, here we go. Here comes that double Archon drop. Baneling's gonna come in at the same time. Let's see how these two react at the same time as they're attacking and defending. Looks like these Banelings will connect. A big war for the Zealots with these Archons, and Pure Ling is gonna have a hard time dealing with this.
And he has only Pure Ling. He has 4 Banelings right now, and I don't believe they are with this composition. He's gonna snipe the Hydra Den for free here.
Down it goes, and that means no lurkers anytime soon if he was ever planning on adding those. The Archons can get into a good position here between the base. It looks like he's just gonna save them instead. A very good trade for Stats, who sets up an attack, can send this very Warp Prism back home to defend, or regularly back to his army to reinforce.
Yeah, look at this. Baneling drop comes in, and amidst all of the action, he is ready and waiting. He does move all of his probes into safety, and all the while, it looks like he has backed off with the majority of his army, but he sends the Phoenixes, tries to do some harass damage, and he just wants to go into a longer game here.
No sentries, not a single sentry in the unit comp for Stats right now, and it's going to be Banelings he faces. He still has a solid army. It's much bigger than what Dark has. He has these Archons, he has a lot of Immortals, but Dark is in a tough spot right now in this game. He's trying to transition. He has a huge gas bank. He's trying to get those Ultras out.
Oh, he's going to force that. Really nice targets there. Doesn't get it. No, he gets away. Really, really nicely done. He's unfortunately not able to follow up with any more aggression there, but at least does save the Warp Prism and the Archon.
All right, base over here not spotted, funny as it is, by those Phoenixes. More and more cannons being added here. I think this is kind of a sign of things to come. Stats planning on doing a follow-up attack soon. Once he hits max, he's getting close. He is about to have +3 attack as well. He's got Storm, he's gonna have +1 armor. This is going to be a smart window of time where you can hit before the Broodlords are ready. I thought we were going to be seeing Ultras, but with the Spire coming up here, looks like it might be the other way around.
Yeah, I really like Stats' position right now. As long as he can hold on here, doesn't take too much damage from the harass, add in some more cannons, make sure you're okay. He's already got 4 here in the 4th. He's not dying to any Baneling front buys or anything like that. Just get your army up, get your Storm, and prepare to attack.
It's always so funny to see charged Zealots versus Banelings. They charge to their death. And this base is scouted now finally. He may actually commit to attacking it. Looks like that's the angle of attack he's taking. No, changes his mind. The Phoenixes here know there's no mining, so maybe it's best to just attack from where your opponent's counterattacking you. Even with all these cannons, those Lings can do damage. A bit of indecision from Stats as to where he wants to attack on the map. You can see he's moving to the right side, to the center, to the top, keeps running back and forth. He's not committing yet. He looks like he wants to get more upgrades. He's getting +2 armor. He's getting shields now.
Oh, look at this. Warp Prism coming in, and he should be able to snipe this base if he warps in a bunch of Zealots. There's no defense over here, and cutting Dark down to 4 bases is going to be really key in this fight.
With an Archon here as well, even with Lings and Banelings coming back, it's so much more difficult to defend. And look at this, even with all this army coming over, just way too slow, way too late. Naturally, he is sniped. He can save that Archon if he controls his Warp Prism, or he can absorb Baneling hits with it. Works decently well also, but moving across the map, Stats not confident to take a fight yet. This is giving Dark time to get that Broodlord tech online. Yeah. He's getting his own Tempest at home, but still, Dark is like super comfortable right now. He's so glad that Stats is not attacking him.
I mean, we saw the way it worked out last time on Orbital Shipyard, but of course Dark was in a better spot in terms of his economy. He had a much faster VIP. It was up in mining. He had the gases there. So it is going to be a bit harder for him to transition and get all the units that he had in game number 4 out there, or game number 3. I'm not sure exactly which one it was, but it's still going to go into that very late game where Dark seemed to have an advantage.
52 Banelings on the map. Imagine that. I would never see that contemporary Starcraft EVP.
Everything just disappeared. 2 storms.
Oh no! More Banelings being wasted here as well. He's got a lot of gas, but he doesn't have infinity gas. And here is going to be the moment where we finally see the first attack. Attack goes down. Barriers up on the Immortals.
He hits a ton of the High Templar in the back. That's a really nice hit, even though it doesn't seem like he has much else. That was a really big one. There's only one High Templar left over.
He needs another good fight. Look at the bank of minerals for Dark. It's very low. He doesn't have that 5th base, or rather, his 5th base is dead. He has 4 bases up right now, but many of them are mined out. His economy is weak. Stats has taken the top left. He's taken that new base up towards like the 11 o'clock, and those haven't been dealt with. And Stats has a much better economy as a result.
Look at this now. Triple drop into the 5th base location of Stats.
Yeah, and it's up on the high ground. Those units are actually going to have to make a tough choice whether to come back to defend or not. Looks like the answer is no. This base with +3 and Adrenaline Lance should go down, even with the 4 Zealot Warp, and he just right-clicks on it, and down it goes.
Not enough. These players trading bases. That's really good. Getting that snipe is huge for Dark because right now he's really struggling to get his own 5th. And you can see only 2 Brewlords out this time, 3 Corruptors. It really does not look like he's got the same economy. All the while, his Protoss army is trying to threaten the Zerg here with an attack.
Maxed out. He's trying to build a better army. He has 8 Archons. I don't even want to tell you guys how many Banelings it takes to kill an Archon. It's a lot. They're psionic units. They're not light. And they have 350 shields, plus the fact that he's going to have +2 shields very soon for those Archons. So Baneling's not very effective versus this comp. He's also got 5 Immortals with barriers and Psystorms. Dark isn't ready to fight yet, and he wants to avoid that as long as possible, do these harasses, do these drops.
You can see how important this 5th base is. He's like, okay, I need about 20 Banelings for the defense. I'm not messing around. I don't care what you've got in that Warp Prism. It is not killing my 5th because I need those gases. I need that mining right now.
Dark had for the longest time 1,500, 1,600 gas. He didn't have a good gas economy, but he was waiting to decide what he wanted to spend that gas on. And as it turns out, he's committed to the Broodlord tech. But guess what? Scouted now. 4 Tempests are on the map, and he can just continue to poke forward here with those Tempests, adding additional Stargates. The Mothership is almost done. He's ready for this. And Dark, I don't know how well he's going to get a trade with this army, and he needs to continue to win trades. Oh, look at this Archon defense for the Lings.
Yeah, this is really nice. Getting those into position. Looks like Dark, in fact, is just going to fight. And, you know, the Archons do attack slow, so if you don't have that much support for them, it does make it a bit harder, but not enough Lings up there. The Archons do defend.
Baneling's going to trade out against those Zealots, eliminating some of the defense here for these units. Rather the support for these Archons, I should say, and Tempests and Immortals marching across the map. Ultra's Cavern is nearly done, but with all these Tempests plus the Ultras, I mean, that's not even going to be that good of a counter to what Stats has built either. And Dark can no longer just comfortably sit back. These Zealots are going to force units away, and then he's going to start hitting. He's got so much range with these Tempests.
I love how comfortable Stats looks in this game. His defense has been on point. His drops are just non-stop. You can see the mining once again stopped at that 5th base, and that is so key for Dark. I keep saying it, but Stats just keeps hitting it. He moves forward, forces Dark to react by bringing his army to the middle of the map, and then he drops at the same time. Still no answer for the Warp Prism. Maybe he just needs more static defense, or maybe even a couple of Corruptors over there to ward that out.
Let's see if he can get much done with this. Looks like the answer is no. Archon's over here. He's going to get like 1 or 2 probes. Kill some cannons that were not canceled. That's a small victory. Going to be a bigger return on investment than just dying otherwise. But looking at even resources lost here, 7,000 more efficient is Stats, who now finds another Baneling drop. This one going towards the main base, so won't find much. There's no mining going on there regardless. And uh-oh, the Ultros Cavern. Kaitia's plating, maybe cancel. He's got the Baneling defense.
Just barely keeping that alive. This drop does nothing besides bringing back 1 Void Ray to defend.
Ton of Corruptors scouted here. Could try to harass structures with those, as well as maybe chase around this air army. He's going to want to avoid the Archons and Storms, of course, but Stats remaxing into Void Rays, knowing that that is going to be the answer here. Down goes that Oracle. No more vision of these Corruptors.
And once again, Stats threatening here at the front. Mothership going to help out. Does Dark have the necessary detection? I haven't seen too many Overseers. He's only got 3, and they're not grouped up. He needs to get that over here unless he plans on trying to focus down the Mothership first, which he didn't do in that last game.
Drone depot is spotted, and this is going to be dead. All of those drones and the hatchery will die. This army is too slow to save them. Look at this. Drones just running. I guess they're going to live, but...
I suppose if you run for long enough, the Protoss has to come back and defend against any possible counterattack from the Zerg, but...
It's such a funny situation with those drones coming back. All right, this watchtower is cleared up here. Stats has starved Dark out for long enough and now it's really starting to show in the gas bank, the lack thereof for Dark. If he kills any bases,
yeah,
you can kiss Dark's chances of this game winning is goodbye.
This is looking like the opposite in terms of banks and position from Orbital Shipyard stats. It looks like he wants to engage here, wants to poke with those Tempest, but here comes Dark.
All right, 4 Overseers here. Storm's going down on all of those Corruptors. Void Ray's going for their prismatic alignment. Time Warp's being planted here as well. And this is looking to be a win for Stats in this first fight.
Mothership doesn't go down, the air units don't go down, and there's nothing left to protect the Broodlords in the sky. The Queen's getting lifted now, and it looks like Stats has broken him.
It looks like this is game over. There's no bank left for Dark. He's going to lose his base now to the 5 o'clock. He's going to lose his 4 o'clock expansion. There's only 2 mining bases. He makes 6 Corruptors. That's nowhere near enough.
That's all he can afford. Such a sad situation in this game. Looking a lot like the opposite of that last one on Orbital Shipyard. This base is going to go down. Dark is trying to take a base in the middle of the map. The second Stats sees that. That is toast.
He's down 80 supply. 80. And Stats lost all of his gas bank, but kills this base, finds it as you mentioned. He doesn't need any more gas to win this game. He can win the game with the army he's built alone. He's doubling the army supply of Dark.
Staley maxed out. Looks like he wants to group up once again. I think he's noticed this.
He's like, you got no more money. You have no more army.
Oh
you
boy.
have 3 Corruptors here? Yeah, right. This Broodlord army is so slow, he has no detection. He can't even fight this. He has no Overseer.
He can't even attack. And there you go. Overseer's coming in. That's not going to be much help. Storms and GG. Stats brings it back 3-2. And here we go, guys. It is not over yet. Stats has some life left in him.
Bringing it back. 1 of 3 wins he'll need in a row to win this finals. But he takes some momentum back as we go into Laralac Crest.
This is the finals we wanted. Stats challenging, the underdog coming in, but making it hard for Dark. This is not an easy win at all. Every single game is a battle for both players, and Stats does not want to let go of his chance at his first championship.
That's right. Laralac Crest will be the next map. Our final map will be Ruins of Ceres. So a smaller map. You know, Laralac's not that small, but I mean, it's not the size of Ceres. But Ceres, if we go to that final game, that 7th game, it is massive. It is huge.
And that's what we want to see. All the macro games so far, Orbital Shipyard and that one we just had on Central Protocol were my 2 favorite maps. You know, I love the aggression out of Dark, the Ling Beam plays, but seeing these 2 players go to the late game, their skills really come out where they can go head-to-head and decide who is the better player after all when you're getting up to 5, 6 bases on both sides.
What I worry about for Dark in this series is now the momentum's taken away from him, right? Keep in mind that because of this, you know, I feel like when you watch these games, he lost some momentum. It looks like Dark's late game is not as good as Stats is in this matchup, especially on this map, Central Protocol. He lives, he builds an air army. We saw him in one of those games, he didn't have a bank, but he still won the air fights. He knows how to build the comp to beat Dark. This time he had an economy. He choked Dark out.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's like Central Protocol actually helped Stats in that one because once he defended on 3 bases, the 4th base was so far away from Dark, Dark could never really attack it. He tried to so many times. Lings, Banes, there were 4 cannons, and the army was right there because the 3rd and the 4th are very, very close. So he just defended. It was not quite the same battle as on Orbital Shipyard because the 4th base, it's out there, it's near the 3rd, but there's so much harass potential in the main. And I